All right, guys, we are back, and with some potential big news coming from the Wall Street Journal. According to a brand new report, they are saying that Nintendo is going to be releasing two new Nintendo Switch models as early as summer 2019, and these models will consist of a high-end and casual versions of these. So let's get into this article and this topic here, and I'll go over all of my thoughts when it comes to it. So Nintendo will release two new versions of the Nintendo Switch as early as summer, according to a new Wall Street Journal report citing, quote, people familiar with the matter, which follows up on a report from October 2018. Now, one new version will have enhanced features targeted at avid gamers, but is not as powerful as the PlayStation 4 Pro or the Xbox One X, for example. Now, the publication said, citing, quote, parts suppliers and software developers for Nintendo who have early access to the prototype of the machine, end quote. The other version is said to be a cheaper option for casual gamers that Nintendo sees as a successor to the Nintendo 3DS. Quote, you would be wrong to think the enhanced version is similar to what Sony did with the PlayStation 4 Pro, and the other is just a cheap alternative that looks very similar to some past handheld machines, say Sony's PlayStation Vita, a source told the Wall Street Journal. Now, the Wall Street Journal also reported that people who have seen two of the new versions of the Switch said that their designs are, quote, different from the original, and you'd be surprised. So this is actually loaded, and if you want to see the full report, Takahashi Mochizuki, everything on the Wall Street Journal, I'll have a link to that. And of course, I'll be speaking in hypotheticals when I talk about the possibilities of this, but you have to remember, guys, this is just a report from them, which means it is overall, in the grand scheme of things, a rumor, but they are reporting as they have had sources that they feel is credible enough to report it as that, direct sources that have a hands-on this. Now, we do know that there's been plenty of talk about a new Nintendo Switch model or something coming out. We've heard stuff like, yes, there might be a high-end. We've heard that there's going to be a smaller one. So let's go ahead and get into the possibilities of the higher end or the hardcore machine out there for the avid gamers. I think everybody can look at the Nintendo Switch and see that it's lacking quite a number of different things when it comes to the feature set, when it comes to potential power of the system. I guess it could be stronger. There could be some things that they can brush up in terms of new technology in order to get games running at better resolutions and frame rates. So it makes sense that Nintendo might want to come out with something to make it a lot stronger. But once again, not something like it's going to be like a PS4 Pro or an Xbox One X where you have this big power jump from what we've seen before. Okay, so don't expect this huge jump, because from the Xbox, the original Xbox One to the Xbox One X, that's actually a sizable jump up in power, a very good and sizable jump up in power, to where you actually see a difference in graphics and frame rate and everything. I'm not expecting that big of a jump, and of course I'm not expecting it to look as good as PlayStation 4, even the base. That'd be very difficult. But then again, Nintendo could do something. You should never really think that you can anticipate what Nintendo's going to do, but what Nintendo would have to do with this high-end model, there could not be a bunch of exclusive games on this device. That would be the one problem if they did do that. Now, what they could do, maybe you have some Nintendo Switch Pro Enhanced type of titles. And remember, guys, this is hypothetically speaking. I'm not speaking as if it's 100% true or fact. I'm just speaking in hypotheticals to talk about it, just to discuss more about it here. But we could see something like, let's say, the new Nintendo 3DS, where you saw a bunch of games that had smoothed out visuals a little bit better here and there. The frame rates were better. It used the extra analog stick. I mean, there were just some things here and there. I think there was a couple different games that are new Nintendo 3DS exclusives. I know, for example, the Xenoblade Chronicles 3D, that game. I think also Minecraft as well. That game doesn't run on the original. And also Fire Emblem Warriors. That game I think is a new Nintendo 3DS exclusive. So you only have a few different games here. So maybe something like that happens, but I don't expect it to be anything huge or significant, but we'll have to wait and see. I think the reason why Nintendo wants to do that, because if this report is true, obviously you have the smaller model or you have the cheaper model out there. So you'll have 3 models of the Nintendo Switch, one that's priced moderately, one that's priced cheaper, and then you'll have the high end. I think giving options to consumers is really good, so I do like that. And of course, I'm going to go ahead and answer this right now so you guys aren't asking me anything. I don't really care what the price is for this thing. I'm definitely going to cop it day one if it does come out. The high-end model and also the cheaper end model as well. What I would like to see if Nintendo's going to have a high-end model, I would love for them to actually add in all the features that people have been asking for when it comes to the online. So I'm hoping that this does come with the revamp of the Nintendo Switch Online, where it adds in the voice chat and it adds in the messaging and all that stuff that people have been kind of asking for years now when it comes to Nintendo platforms, and it does it well. So let's hope it does, because it says features for avid gamers. Well, what would that be? I mean, better graphics, is that a feature? I guess, but I mean, I think that they're talking more when it comes to the online and everything, but why would it be exclusive to that? So I'm interested to see what features they're talking about, because there's already a lot of pretty cool and advanced features on the regular Nintendo Switch. So we'll see what they have for us when it comes to that, if this is true. Now let's move on to the next thing here, and that is the smaller, or that is the cheaper Nintendo Switch, like a PS Vita. So what that is saying, guys, is that it's saying that there's not going to be any Joy-Cons. So what they're going to do in order to drastically reduce the price of the Nintendo Switch is get rid of the detachable controllers. Now this doesn't mean, before I have you guys going crazy in the chat, this doesn't mean you're not going to be able to perform the main function of the Switch, which is to switch it from a portable to a home console. I still feel that you're going to be able to dock this thing. Just because it doesn't have Joy-Cons per se doesn't mean you won't be able to dock it and use a Nintendo Switch Pro controller to play games. So don't think that just because this is insinuating, which pretty much it says, like a PS Vita, you can't detach any controllers, right? So this looks like it's going to be all connected into one, so they can make it smaller, and it's going to make it a lot cheaper, because one of the most expensive things about the Nintendo Switch are the Joy-Cons. There is a lot of advanced tech packed into those, and it makes the system more expensive. So if you get rid of those and you just make it all one type of modular device, obviously it's going to be a lot cheaper, and you can build in HD Rumble to the device like normal. So you're still going to get your HD Rumble, but it's just not going to be like the Joy-Cons. Maybe it's not as good, because I've noticed that the Joy-Con HD Rumble is better than the HD Rumble on the Pro controllers, for example. So maybe it's not quite as good, but at least you still get that HD Rumble. And I think that, once again, this is a good option for multiple different reasons. I'm going to start with the high-end model. It's a good option because if they do this, right? Because once again, you're giving consumers options. I don't know how strong it's going to be or anything like that, but I think the big games are coming out. Maybe a game like Astral Chain, maybe games like Fire Emblem. These type of games, obviously these are for the core gamers, and a lot of people are probably going to want to buy a high-end system if an option is available for them. And I think one of the things that people have been saying is that there should be a cheaper option, or they'd pay more for a higher end option. We've heard all sorts of stuff from consumers out there. So that would be maybe even confusing, though, just a little bit. I guess that's my only concern. 3 different models out there. That seems a bit much to me. But also, I think that this is a good idea in terms of like a Switch Mini or a smaller or cheaper one, because Pokemon, Animal Crossing, those 2 games, definitely there's going to be a lot more of the casual base, a lot more of the 3DS base jumping over, because those were essentially 3DS mega franchises, 10 million units plus, no problem on the Nintendo 3DS for each of these games, Animal Crossing and Pokemon. Pretty much every single Pokemon game does big on the 3DS, every single mainline one at least. And I think that you're going to need a cheaper option for a lot of families out there that are going to buy a second Switch. And I think that it's perfect if they do bring out that. And that's something that I've said that I think that they're going to do. So this is definitely big news, guys. This is definitely big news. They're reporting as this is going to be something that happens. We still need to wait and see what it eventually ends up being. But I'm excited to see what Nintendo does in order to keep competitive in the market, because you guys all know good and well that Microsoft and Sony are coming out with their next systems. We're seeing Google Stadia come into into play. We're getting more people just jumping in, streaming services happening. All this stuff is going down, and I think that switching things up a little bit, no pun intended, is definitely the move that Nintendo needs to do here, providing more options to consumers and also increasing the feature set in terms of what they offer. So we'll have to wait and see when it comes to if this actually ends up being exactly true, but overall, I don't think necessarily it would be a horrible idea to add more options into the fray. I'm still on team. We're gonna see at least like a Nintendo Switch Mini. I don't know about a Pro option as early as summer, but once again, it's a wait and see type of thing, but it's fun talking about it and hypotheticals and what we could or could not see. But I know that this summer is going to be lit. If Nintendo comes out with 2 new Switch models this summer, or it says as early as this summer, so it's not a guaranteed thing. Let me make sure I rephrase that. As early, that means it could be later, right? But I think that there's going to be a lot of gamers out there that don't have a Switch, that are big Platinum Games or Nier fans, and then they see like Astral Chain coming out and probably going to want to buy the high-end system and Astral Chain, or Fire Emblem and the Nintendo Switch, the high-end model. And then there's going to be those Pokemon fans that would just want the cheaper model and just play things. They're not worried about graphics and performance as much. So to me, it just makes sense just with the type of software that Nintendo has coming out. But once again, it's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting this summer because there's a lot of great games coming out, and Nintendo is in kind of the driver's seat, right? They haven't been in this position in a long time when it comes to their main or home console. It's been a while, so we'll see what Nintendo does with it. So what do you guys think about this when it comes to this report from the Wall Street Journal? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Let me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for latest RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.